Hey everybody, what's up? Sir Venom Mike K coming to you right now. What I have for you, and for you, my beautiful people, the French Destroyer Line review. Who right now? Yes, that's right, boys. We've played some of the French line, the French DDs. We've played everything this time, from Tier 2 all the way up to Tier 9. Now I'm going to take this. Video in a couple of sections here, and we're going to talk about Tier 2, 3, and 4 together. 2, 3, and 4 together, and then we're going to talk about 5, 6, and 7 together, and then we're going to talk about 8 and 9 together. Now I played to 10 on the very first instance of it, and I can tell you it's fantastic. All right, it's fantastic. All right, boys, Tier 2, 3, and 4. Let's go right now. Tier 2 and 3 and 4, relatively decent boats. Don't ask me what the names are. I didn't even care enough to write them down. But Tier 2, 3, and 4, very loopy guns. They're kind of frustrating if you're trying to shoot things that are going away from you other than battleships and maybe even cruisers. But if you're trying to shoot like a T-25 that's like this big on your screen from 4 kilometers, you're going to have a hard time. But when you do hit them, you're going to knock them. Oh, you're gonna punch them right in the mouth, and it's gonna be great. And you're gonna love these early boats. And these are, if you can get up into people, do some serious damage with your main guns. There's no reload booster here, but you really don't need it. You really don't need it, boys. Not only that, but you also combine with probably some of the high. Don't quote me on this, but some of the highest torpedo damage that I was getting has been on these boats. I would hit somebody with 2 torpedoes and do 24,000 damage. At Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. Something along those lines. The torpedoes are really good, but they're ambush torps. They're relatively short. But overall, Tier 2, 3, and 4, fantastic boats. Highly recommend them. Play them, whatever. Play through them. You're probably not even going to touch these things because when they'll probably figure some way to give away Tier 8. I don't know. I have no idea. Moving on to Tier 5, 6, and 7. Now, Tier 5 is still kind of, Tier 6 is still kind of, Tier 7 is where it starts to take shape. I found that at Tier 7, relatively high detection ability, I really started to feel like I was doing something. Like it was not much of a struggle to get damage done. Now, typically the better player is going to not be up in your face. Not be up in your face as a DD. And when you're fighting other DDs, this one does struggle. The Vaquelin, I believe, is to Tier 7. It does struggle. Dropping shells onto targets that are penciling away from you. Now, a very skilled player is going to love these things because it won't matter to them. But for somebody like me who's just an average player, I struggled with the penciling in, penciling out, and then the broadside shots that were very loopy. 6 kilometers, sometimes it would take 10 seconds to get there over 6 kilometers. It was very slow. Some of these are marred by 700 millisecond gun arcs, 700 meters per second, millisecond arc, yeah. 700 meters per second shell arcs, which is, everybody knows, is slower than the North Carolina, which touts some of the slowest shells in the game. Other than that, Tier 5, 6, and 7, pretty good. The Tier 5, the Jaguar, and the Sirocco, I believe it's called. The Jaguar does not get the reload booster, and the Sirocco does. Had a lot of good games in the Sirocco. No complaints about it. If for Tier 5, you're fine. If you're at Tier 7 game, you are going to struggle, but that's typical Tier 5 DDs. Other than the very stealthy kamikazes. Tier 6. Another one that I really didn't feel like I was doing much in. If you wanted to sit behind an island, just hump over islands because of your slow shell arcs, you could get damage that way. I just felt that these were it just took a little bit too much work. It was a very hard grind for me to play through some of these lines. It got a little bit easier at 7. And let's talk about the rest of them here. 7 is where I think it starts to get pretty decent. And in 7, where there's a lot of really decent DDs at Tier 7, being at Tier 9, was it a hindrance? Not as much as it was from 6 to go into 8 or 5 going into 7. Tier 7 really fought hard and fought well to even itself out at Tier 9. All right, moving on to Tier 8 and 9. Tier 8 and 9. The Fantastic, whatever, the Fantastiqua, I don't know how to say this thing, and then the Mogador. Tier 8, the Fantastiqua, decent boat. I mean, it's a single turret gunboat, which I'm not a big fan of, but you do get a little bit faster shell speed. The torpedoes have gone from 9 kilometers to 8 kilometers, but they go 75 knots. They're pretty quick, and if you're going to run in on somebody, you can do it with this boat. Without the concealment expert on this boat, you have a pretty high concealment. I think it's like somewhere around 7.9. So if you want to try to get into torpedo range, maybe you want to take concealment expert. I don't know. Is IFHE necessary on these? They're 139s. Maybe not. You have 22 millimeters of pen with IFHE. You have 29. I don't know. Maybe that's worth it to some of you guys. I don't know. That's up to you guys. That's your personal preference. Now let's get into the bread and butter of this. This is where these boats I think are phenomenal. Tier 9. Tier 9, the Mogador. I sat there with both of my guns, put 5 shells into this guy, and hit him for 4,900 damage. That's just straight up HE. And I'm talking the side of a Fletcher. We also did it to a Kagero. 5,000 damage on a volley. Ooh, I haven't felt that excited about a volley since I started playing the Z52 with AP on the side of gearings. It was amazing. Absolutely adore this Tier 9 boat. It's fantastic. I don't care about the CVs. They can come in and drop on me all you want to. I'm going to see that damage. I'm going to see that consistent damage. And I'm fast. And my torpedoes still hit like a truck. Fantastic. Absolutely gorgeous boats. The boats look amazing. The torpedo arcs are literally in front of you. Like, I'm talking old school, let's run at you. Your torpedo arcs go from here all the way back to there. And there's no leadway. All you have to do is go boop. That's it. Your torpedo arcs are amazing. So this is a very nice pushing in. If you want to go attack another DD, if they don't, their smoke's leaving, they're on their way, they're pretty low. Shit, son. Take that Mogador in there. Mogador. Remembering what I've done in the Kleber in the previous testing, it's fantastic. You guys are going to love that boat. You guys are going to love the Tier 9 boat. I'm not a big fan of the single turret gunboats, meaning there's only one gun per turret. I'm not a big fan of those. I end up having to do a hell of a lot more than I would if I had a double gun because there's less margin for error. We're talking about 5 guns versus 6, and maybe you put accuracy on this thing. So, bottom line, overall review, the boats are fine. They do okay. I would like a little bit less loop in these guns because it feels like I'm firing, and from 4 kilometers, it feels like I'm shooting at 7 or 8 kilometers in an American destroyer with the amount of loop on some of these lower tier ones. Starting at 7, it gets better. 8 is better, and 9 is phenomenal. You guys are going to love these things. I highly recommend at least Tier 9. The rest of them, that's up to you. I love you guys. Thank you very much for watching. This has been my reviews of all of the French DDs. Just for you, Earl. I love you, man. My CC handler. We'll see you guys next time, man.